Hi guys!
Hello.
Welcome to Etta, Arlene Spiritcast. If you're new to this podcast, we talk about all things related to mindfulness, magic, astrology, tarot, Reiki, meditation, spirituality in general, and all things in that realm. In today's episode, we have a guest named Barry Strohm on. He was actually on our show a few episodes back. We had him on last year. And he's really interesting. He's a channeler. And he can channel a variety of energies, including galactics, angels, ascended masters. He's channeled historical figures, and he can also do like pet communication, which is really cool. So there's no limit to the types of energies that he's able to see and communicate with. And since we last talked to him, he's actually gotten even better at channeling from what we understand, which is really cool. It's really cool to see people who, especially someone like him who was already very advanced in that type of thing, to like get even better, more confident in their abilities. So I thought it was really cool. Like our spiritual development is always happening, you know?
It never stops.
Yeah. No matter where you're at, you're always growing and learning if you stick to it and be a seeker, like I always say. Before we get into it, do you want to tell our listeners where they can find us?
So you can follow us on whatever you're listening to this on. We are on Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook, Pinterest at Ed Arlene. We're on Twitter at edpro_PGH. We tweet a lot. And we also post Reiki-infused videos to YouTube almost every single day. So you can go over there and subscribe and like to get that. And then we have Reiki at the end of each of these episodes. Stick around to the end for that. And if you'd like to receive a free Reiki session, we send one out to everybody on our email list once a month. So you can go to our website. It's linked down below at arlene.com to sign up for that.
Yeah, and then we have a Patreon where we're posting longer Reiki videos. And we also have a book that is going to be linked down below. It's a self-love book. And we make candles. Our candles are awesome. They smell really great. And we have that link down below too. Yeah. There's our selling. Support us, please.
Support us in any facet you can so we can keep on doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
We create a lot of awesome things.
Anything new with you?
Me?
Yeah.
At this moment, I'm just vibing, living life, making the best of the situations that we're in, you know? Just trying to be as happy as possible and until this is all over, you know? Just doing me hard.
I think I'm going to start doing shamanic journeying again. Hardcore. I'm not playing. So you guys might remember our previous guest, Thomas Mooneagle, and he knows like all this stuff, like everything.
He has a lot of modalities.
Yes, he's very knowledgeable in everything. But anyways, he has a book, and it's called Drumming Down the Runes, which we've talked about in previous episodes. But if you're new to this podcast and it's the first time you're hearing us talk about it, that's Drumming Down the Runes. We can link that down below. And basically, the book, he takes a shamanic journey to gain knowledge on each one of the runes. So each one of the runes has its own an energy, like spirit, and he invites you to journey with him. So the first half of the book, he's talking about shamanic journey. And now I've been on a shamanic journey before, and I haven't done one in a very long time, but he kind of like put a bee in my bonnet, and I've been reading up a lot and like kind of researching a lot on shamanic journeying, and I'm really interested in, so in shamanism you have like the three worlds. So if we have Thomas on again, I definitely want to ask him about this. Like, we're trying to get him back on. We've been in communication. We'll see if he has availability. But I would love to have somebody come on and really like explain it to us in depth. And basically, though, in shamanism, you have like the three worlds. You have your lower, middle, and higher. And the lower world is where like primal energies are. So that would be like your animal, like you hear about your power animal, that's where you would find it at. And that's where Thomas travels to meet the runes. And then you have your middle world, and your middle world, from what I was reading, can help with, I believe, like past life type stuff. It's kind of like where we like reside. I'm not quite sure right now what you can do with the middle world, but I know that's where the energies that lie to us kind of reside. And then you have your higher world, and your higher world is with like angels and ascended masters and all that. And you can like journey to all three of them, and you can receive guidance in those worlds. I got a book about Native American shamanism, and she said she put that umbrella term over it because she practices she does like shamanic practices within certain tribes across like the United States. So I guess she's worked with different ones, and she's also Native American. But this book is just kind of like her. I can link that too. You might as well get Thomas's book and her book. But I just wanted more after I read his book. He just made me want to read more. And so, anyways, this woman is going to show me how to do a lower, middle, and higher journey at some point where I can meet energies and spirits that will support me on my path. It's really cool. I'm taking my time with it though.
Wasn't Ernesto a shaman as well?
Yes, Ernesto was.
Do you think he has a book? He might.
He might, yeah.
We never looked into it.
Yeah,
we
Ernesto
interviewed him about his book about the Akashic Records. Mm-hmm. But he might have something in there for you to look into. Oh yeah,
I mean, I would be interested. He is a shaman. I would be definitely interested. But I think he's really gone into Buddhism. I know that. I know he does a couple different modalities as well.
Well, everybody does.
There's like a lot of overlap.
I feel like once you get into all this, you end up just collecting modalities. If that's just exploring and moving forward on your journey. That's so interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I find too that there's a lot of overlap with everything, and I think that's why people will start exploring other modalities. Like, there's a lot of overlap with everything. Like you know, we've studied like Wicca and all of that, and I'm seeing these overlaps with, I mean, I guess technically that would be considered like a more shamanic practice as well, because shamanism isn't like Native American, it's like these native, like indigenous, like across the globe practices, so anything can fall underneath that umbrella. There's actually a term called neo-shamanism as well, and we need to do a shamanic whatever.
Episode.
We need a shamanic episode. We also plan on doing a neo-pagan episode too, because so what's happening now in our current modern time is we're adapting all of these different practices and using them and honoring them in a way that is different because we're blending them together. So a neo-shamanism, I believe, incorporates things that are more modern and aren't as strict on a traditional path. So you have like your traditional shamanism where you're very like following one specific pantheon, one specific like practice that's ancient and like has this like lineage, where a neo-shaman is going to be infusing different practices from a variety of different like cultures and stuff. Still, I hope, honoring and believing and everything. So like you might go on a shamanic journey to the higher world, and then you end up meeting a deity that may not be, or I don't even say deity, it could be an angel, anything that's more in alignment with like what you're familiar with. So like for us, like we might meet an angel versus something that we're not as familiar with. But I mean, at this point, I feel like they just come out and they're like, hey, here I am.
Yeah, it's like, take it or leave it.
You gotta figure out what it is. But anyways, that's the same thing with like, the whole like idea of like neo-paganism or like eclectic witchcraft and all of that. That's like, now in modern times where we're pulling from various, practices to create our own. Now, I'm curious, one thing that because I think about this, like, where does chaos magic fall? Like, because that's 1970s. So that's going to be an episode. I'm going to do a lot of research on that.
We could have Sheila on again for the chaos magic
She would
episode.
do that. She would be great.
Because she practices that.
She does chaos magic.
I practice it unknowingly, I think. In certain aspects of my life. I don't know. But you will do the research. You will do the...
We're going to have... Okay.
Everything will...
We're talking out our podcast to you guys, but we know people who are knowledgeable in each one of these
things. We do, because I believe that Blair is also a shaman.
Yeah,
she studied in Peru, so we could hit her up.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
You know, magical people attract magical people.
Yeah.
And we happen to know a lot. Yeah. So
I know, over the years, they've just been
collecting.
Yeah.
So we'll figure it out. So future episode, chaos magic and shamanism. That's gonna be exciting.
And if we can't find someone with availability, it's gonna be me. I'm kidding.
Yeah, but you're like an encyclopedia of knowledge. Like you're like the Google in human form when it comes to facts about the metaphysical world.
Virgo,
because it's your Virgo nature. Me, I'm just trying to make it through, trying to be I just want to be happier, and you know, obviously, like you mentioned the Wicca stuff. Like I've been studying, came up with my practices, and I just want to have everything that I'm currently studying. I want to have it, solid. Yeah. And I personally right now can't handle taking on any other modalities. Yeah. With my current framework that I'm operating with.
I just fell in my lap. I busted out that human design stuff. I mean, I'm not finished with human design, but I learned a lot, and now that's one thing, like, whenever you're learning...
Oh, we do have to do the human design episode, too.
We do, but we need people who know a lot more than...
Well, we're gonna find... They come to us. Yeah, they always come to us when their time's right.
Yeah.
So,
this time...
There we go.
We're working, guys. We're trying to get galactics again. We're trying to get...
We're not trying. We don't try. It comes.
We're aligning
with it, and it comes. Because it always does.
Yeah.
So, look out for that soon, people. Yeah. Soon.
Yeah. I mean, I'll link those books on shamanism below if you guys are curious, if you want to, like, journey yourself. And, yeah, that's that.
Why not? Do it. If you feel called to, do it.
Yeah.
Have fun. Life's supposed to be fun. Do what intrigues you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and gosh, it's going to be a great year, guys. Alrighty.
We're going to get into the interview with Barry Strohm.
Alright, bye. Enjoy the ad. Here's a quick note from one of our sponsors, and then we'll get into today's awesome episode. If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, let me give you a rundown. Basically, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Here's how it works.
Anchor lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer, so no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today.
Then you can distribute your podcasts on most popular listening platforms, including Spotify, with a single tap. Anchor is also the only place you can publish video podcasts to Spotify.
With Anchor, creators can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. And best of all, Anchor is totally free.
Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. So, Barry, do you want to give a little bit of information about you and how you started channeling for anyone who's completely new to the podcast and isn't familiar with your work?
Well, I came from the realm of a non-believer. I never believed in ghosts. But when I was around 60 years old, I had to spend time in my antique gallery back in Pennsylvania, and it was incredibly haunted. And the spirits started to introduce themselves to me, and I started to believe in them. And we were very close to the Gettysburg battlefield. So I went out and started photographing them. And once I got pictures of them, I was really hooked on understanding. So I started out like any other paranormal investigator with a ghost box, hearing their words and stuff like that. But I was introduced to an individual or a couple individuals that did board channeling. And the first time I sat down with them, I had no idea what was coming down, but they had this board, a circular board, and there were two of them, and they had a glass planchette in the center of it. And I sat down at the table with them, and they sat down, and the first message they got was, "Hello, Barry, we were waiting for you." And I went, "Oh my goodness, what is this craziness?" And then I was hooked because I wanted to learn to use a channeling board so that I could speak to the spirits myself. So the guides actually designed a board for us. And you can go onto my website and see it. It's on spiritspredict.com. Go to the page board channeling, and you can see that. And they also introduced us to the concept of never channel without saying a prayer of protection. So the guides also gave us this prayer, which is also on that webpage. And we started to learn to board channel. And it was slow. I mean, it was very difficult in the beginning. But my wife and I worked at it, and it took a couple years to work this thing out until we started getting realistic messages. And then we started to realize that we were conversing with higher level spirits. For instance, St. Augustine was coming through and giving us messages. And we improved in our board channeling. And then I started realizing that when I was hitting the first letter of a word, that I was hearing the word in my head. So we would channel and we just simply hit the first letter and I could speak the word. So the guides come through and they say, you really don't need the channeling board anymore. And they said, you have to have self-confidence, but just speak what you hear. So I started just doing all of the channeling in my head. And that's what we're doing now. You can actually go onto my YouTube channel. It's in my name, Barry Strohm. And you can watch us progress because I have videos up from the early days where we relied on the board channeling. And then you can see as I progress through the different and get better and better at it until now the videos are up. And I just simply sit there and speak the words of the Spirit. So it's a long process and it takes time to learn it.
So whenever you, do you hear the voices? What does it sound like, I guess is what I'm asking.
That's interesting because I don't want you to hear the word.
Okay.
I just simply speak the word.
Okay. So it's like a knowing.
Yes.
It sounds like? Okay.
Knowing thing. And I can speak it almost at a conversational speed now. But when I do the channeling, it's just, I'm speaking these words. A lot of the stuff I don't remember when I'm doing this. So it's almost like you're in a very light trance.
Okay.
But many times I have to go back and read transcripts to know what we actually did during that session.
Okay. Wow.
So it's very hard to describe. You don't hear the word. You just simply speak the word.
I feel like there's been other people who have said the same thing.
Really?
Like I think that Esther Hicks said something similar.
That it just comes
through.
Okay.
And that's why she had Jerry recording it all.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. She would have, her husband would have a recorder, and then they would play it back. And, she wasn't very familiar, couldn't remember all of the messages that had come through. I'd always thought maybe it was like a voice, or I don't know what I thought.
Well, I think everybody likes to think that's going to be a audible voice that is different per the being that you're channeling. Like, everybody wants to think that they're going to hear the word, like the voice of God, and
No, it doesn't. It's not like that. It's really hard to describe. But you've heard me channel. I'm just speaking those words.
Yeah, it's amazing actually. And you channel a variety of different energies, which you have your new radio show, right? And you'll have some of them come through. Or
let's talk about the radio show.
We have my wife and I started a radio show. It's on Para X network. It's called Channeling History. And each week we take a spirit, can be historic, famous, from the past, future, whatever. And we actually channel that spirit live on the radio. And we let the people in the chat room ask the questions of the spirit. Because there's a lot of people who are saying, this can't be taken, you're a fake, you can't be doing this.
Yeah.
But we're taking spontaneous questions. And we have no idea what's coming or what the answer is going to be. So we'll take a question from the chat and the spirit answers the question. And it's a very unique show concept. And we're on Sundays at 9 p.m. We're talking that Sunday. And tonight we're going to be interviewing John Wilkes Booth. And we'll be doing the Lincoln Conspiracy. Because Booth does not die in Virginia like the history books say.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because I wrote a chapter about this in my conspiracy book. We channeled this before, so I know it's coming tonight.
Oh wow.
But it's going to be very interesting. And last week we channeled the Archangel Azrael, the angel of death.
Oh man.
And we actually let the listeners ask questions of an archangel, and the archangel answers their questions live on the radio. So it's interesting. We have all of the radio shows that we have are up on my YouTube channel as well.
Okay.
Or you can get them on Podomatic if anybody wants to download them and listen at a future time. And everything we do is for free, so you can just come in and check it out.
Oh, wow.
See, I love that you do that. Everything's free. That way it's accessible to everybody.
Yeah.
And whether you believe or not, you can listen to it for yourself and make that own decision.
So you've channeled a variety of energies, but one of the major energies that you channel is Jesus. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about him.
Well, the first time that he comes through, you don't believe it. But what he said to us and the energy that we felt, it was truly so. I channel animals as well. So, I mean, a funny story, for the first time Mary came through for us. we were in our apartment in Pennsylvania, and my one cat, Leo, was sitting on the counter, and he was in a box, laying on the counter. And we channeled with Mary. And while we were doing it, you could just see these two little eyes and ears looking over the edge of the box. And when Mary left, he stood up. And I said, okay, Leo, you have something you want to say? And Leo says, I cannot believe I just saw Mary.
Oh.
Think of the depth of an animal soul, that it was familiar with the concept of the mother of Mary, mother of Jesus. But those were his exact words that he said to us, was, I cannot believe I just saw Mary.
Oh, wow.
My goodness. Oh.
Yeah, 'cause our cats, we have a couple of cats, and our one cat, Salvador, if you hold him, he constantly looks around you, looks around you.
Yeah, well, they're seeing spirit because they can see in the infrared spectrum. Well, when we photograph spirits, we do it in infrared. So they're actually seeing the spectrum that we're photographing spirits in.
Okay.
So they're very aware of spirit movement around them.
Every time I hold him, constantly, he always just looks around like crazy.
Yeah, you can see it looks like his gears are going like.
Yeah, well, they're moving. The spirits are moving very rapidly around them. But you have a very active house there.
Yeah. It's all of us. We're all magical. We attract it.
Yeah. Recently, I was at my mom's, and my mom and I were in the kitchen. We heard a voice. It sounded like it said "mom," but it all happened in our voice. It'll sound like it's one of us, like one of the siblings, and no one was there. And we were just like, okay, like we just kind of shrugged. We're like, oh, all right, that happened.
Oh, you get used to it.
Yeah. I've heard like hello for and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, no. Once you really get used to the world we live in, it's an amazing place. I have channeled animals as low as a hamster. Yeah, really. I'll tell you a quick story. We were friends with a medium and her daughter, and her daughter is incredible. I mean, she's going to be fantastic with her spirit energies. But we were channeling, and she said, do you mind if I try to talk to my animals? And I said, no. We'll take a shot, whatever, because we're open-minded about this.
Yeah.
So she gives me this name, and the message comes in, hello, I love you, and I'm sorry. And I said, well, who is that? And she said, well, that was my pet dog that died. And it gave me the name. And then the next message comes in. She gives me this name, and the message comes in, hello, and I love you. And I said, well, who was that? And she said, well, that was my pet hamster. And I went, you got to be kidding me. I just talked to a hamster? And then I said, well, what was that other message about? And she said, oh, well, that was my dog. And he said he was sorry because he killed the hamster.
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness.
So, we've done some pretty weird channelings in our time.
I do think it's interesting that the cat earlier, you said that's how deep our souls are, that an animal was able to recognize Mother Mary. Yeah. So that's proof to me that every living thing has a soul.
Yep, they do. And these animals are part of Connie and my soul family. So our soul family would be familiar with those concepts on the other side.
Okay.
So it's part of what's behind it. Our black cat, Bodhi, this is the third time Bodhi has been with Connie in this incarnate life for her.
Wow. Oh, wow.
We had a Tonkinese cat 15 years ago named Bodacious, Bodhi. And he was 15, but we had to put him down. His life was ending. And while Bodhi was on the other side, I channeled with him. And we talked to him, and I said, Bodhi, can we talk you into coming back? And he said, I will return to you in 13 months as a black kitten, and I will find you. And within 1 week of when he said, this black kitten finds us.
Oh, my gosh.
And the story, what he did, he brought the second cat with him, Leo, and Leo was my daughter's dog in prior life. So these all had family associations. But then one day we had the channeling board out, and Connie said, I just have a feeling that Bodhi's been with us more than 2 times. So I asked, I said, were you ever with Connie before? And on the channeling board, it spells out the word Starlight. Starlight was Connie's pony when she was a kid.
Oh.
So
Oh my goodness.
that was the third time. So that soul has been back as a pony and a cat 2 times for Connie's incarnate life.
Wow.
Must like the cat form better.
Yeah.
Cat life.
Like the cat life.
Yeah.
Oh, it's probably easier.
Yeah.
So you also channel extraterrestrials, right? Or you have, okay.
And I've actually seen extraterrestrials in person, real ones.
Wow.
No,
wow.
goodness.
Oh, this is right up my alley.
Yeah.
But I wrote 2 books about aliens, and all of a sudden I started asking, when we were doing the conspiracy book, I asked questions about aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Do they exist?
Yeah.
So one night the guide says, I'm going to introduce you, next session, I'm going to introduce you to a spirit that can answer all your questions because he was one. And I said, was one what? And he said, an alien. Next session, we get the spirit named Moo. And I said, Moo, what were you? He said, oh, I was a blue alien.
Oh.
And I said, tell me about what do you look like? He said, well, I stood 7.5 feet and I died at 942 of your years.
Oh my gosh.
And I lived on a planet called Robe, which is on the far side of on the spiral side of the Milky Way. And I said, well, how come I can channel with you? And he said, because human and alien energies are the same. And so you got to explain that one to me.
Yeah.
And what he said was, all of you who have lived incarnate human lives have lived lives as aliens on other planets. I said, well, explain. He said, well, soul energies have been around since creation. Humans have been around for 250,000 years. So where do you think your soul energy was before humans walked the earth? Well, the answer is you lived lives as aliens on other planets.
Wow.
So I'm aware of some of my prior lives on other planets.
Oh wow.
But he died in our time in 1987.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And he was there.
Mm-hmm.
So he comes through, and he said, when he came through, he said, I'll be with you for 2 to 3 years, but then I have to move on because I have another mission I have to do. And he was with us for 3 years, and he's gone.
Gone,
He's
huh?
on his mission.
Wow. Have any other ones come through?
They are going to let me channel an alien line. They're going to introduce me to some more of them.
Okay.
And in the future, we're going to be doing a live channeling with an alien on our radio show.
Oh, wow.
And let people ask questions. We kind of stretch people's imagination a bit. I know there's people out there saying, this guy is crazy.
People can think what they want to think.
Life's crazy.
Life's a little crazy, and we're all given these gifts and talents and so on and so forth for a reason. Yeah. And I mean, a big listener to other podcasts, we talk more about like your past and how you've been doing this only for a couple of years, and you had a career before this. You were corporate, and then you and your wife owned the antique store. Like this wasn't your full life. Life.
Yeah, exactly.
Like this is.
I have a civil engineering license. I have a degree in business management. I have a minor in statistics and a minor in geology. Mm-hmm. And I worked in construction and stone quarries all my life. And I was actually CEO of a 400 million company for about 4 years. So this is not exactly what I was trained to do.
No, yeah, I bet you would have never guessed, today that you would be doing this. It's like
I used to make fun of people like me. I'd have been the guy on YouTube saying, "Yo, a-hole, what are you doing?"
Oh, that's hilarious. Wow. Oh, I do have a question about another question about aliens. So,
of course you do.
So I know, like you said, that we reincarnate. Do people reincarnate as aliens now? Like,
Absolutely.
Does it? Okay. So there's no guarantee we would reincarnate back on this planet.
You can you got free will on the other side, just like you do here.
Okay.
So you may decide you don't want to be a human again. That we're just all too screwed up, and So you can pick to go to a peaceful planet.
Have a break.
If we have another year like 2020,
You're out there.
I might have to opt out of this.
We're going to have a 0 birth rate in 2021 if this crap keeps up.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Wow. So like some planet, you said that there's some planets that are more peaceful. Are there some planets that are the opposite of that? Are there, what's it like?
Yeah, we're a young planet. We're a very young culture. Mu told us that there have been aliens visiting this planet since the time of the dinosaurs. So that's 60 million years ago. So there are definitely planets that have learned the message of getting along. Because they are so technically advanced that they could wipe each other out. Just like humans are approaching the state of evolution where weapons of mass destruction can allow humanity to be destroyed on this planet. So it's time for us we've either got to learn, get along, or we don't. They tell us that many, many civilizations have wiped themselves out. So humans may be no different.
We talked about it. We said it on the podcast before too, that our like consciousness has to match our like evolution with technology. Like for example, everyone's afraid of artificial intelligence like taking over, and it's like, well, what if the people who created artificial intelligence taught them love and taught them like, you know, peace? They wouldn't want to do that. That wouldn't be a part of their programming, you know. Like I feel like we have to match like our level of like awareness and like love and stuff like that with technology as we like advance. I always have said that, so that's like really
all the other civilizations have. It's just that you have to. All souls are given free will, and it's how you choose to use them. So I mean, your evolution is dependent on it. So it is, you know, you can either do it or you don't. If humans don't learn the lesson of coexistence and love, then they will go the way of other lost civilizations. When in our challenge, God has said, I will never be the one to destroy humans. It will be up to humans to destroy themselves if their evolution fails. But there's not going to be a day of reckoning where God comes back and saves 100,000 people or whatever. And the dead are not going to rise from the grave because the souls are out of the bodies, and that's.
So there are planets that are less like newer than ours.
Yes, there are other new civilizations, and Mu said that there are actually some that are more violent than ours.
Oh no!
Which could be, you know, at least compared to something.
we consider something worse. Could one argue that what's happening right now in 2020 with the current pandemic and so on and so forth, that is kind of a push for people to become more loving and more unified?
Yes, there's continuous tests.
Okay.
Put through. Development of weapons of mass destruction is a test. We have to learn how to live with that violence. And there's going to be a time that life will not be able to exist on it. Because the sun will burn up at some point, so that humans have got to learn to travel the universe and reestablish on other planets that don't have life. So if they're going to exist as well. And that's what other alien cultures have done. Like he told us that the Greys, that their planet is no longer able to sustain life. So they really don't have a home planet at this point. And there are many, many, many types of aliens. Moose said that there's a master ship out there where there's over 250 different alien types on that ship.
So like Noah's Ark, but in space.
It's like a galactic federation.
Noah's Ark, yeah.
It's like a federation.
It's exactly what it is, a galactic federation.
There you go.
I love aliens. I don't know. I have like an affinity for it of lately. I don't know, like.
Well, it's fun. It's fun to believe. It's fun to believe that there's more than just this mortal plane that we're living in, and that there could be other life forms. Or that we could be products of other life forms.
Yeah. No. As I said, I told you I saw an alien.
Yeah. Wow.
Now my wife's been abducted.
Oh wow!
She's an absolute abductee. We know all the details of it. but we were in Pennsylvania in our apartment one night.
Mm-hmm.
And we always had night lights on because we have black cats, so we don't want to kill the cat. So I woke up, it was in the middle of the night, and I look over and I see this big form standing on her side of the bed. And, I thought, I'm thinking I'm dreaming, and I cleared my head and I look, and I can see that it has a short reptilian mouth on it. And it's standing about 7 foot, standing in a big form standing there. So I looked at it, and it looks at me, and it smiles. And I can see its teeth.
Oh my
I go, and then he knocks me out. And I don't remember another thing. So I woke up in the morning, I said, Connie, you may have gone for another trip last night because I think I might have seen an alien. So we were still learning board channeling, and our friends in Salt Lake City, we were in Pennsylvania. Our friends that were teaching us were in Salt Lake, and we get on Skype with them and go back and forth, and they'd have the board in Salt Lake, and we ask questions. So I said, we need to get Kay and Doc on and find out what happened. So that night we get them on Skype. Now they got the channeling board in Salt Lake City. We're in Pennsylvania asking the question. And that was while we had Moo. I asked for Moo to come in for him out in Salt Lake. And he said, yes, do you have a question? And I said, Moo, did I see a real alien last night? And in Salt Lake City, the answer on the channeling board comes back, yes, and did you see him smile at you?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Wow.
And that would have been the moment
and those are the people that had no idea. I mean, zero. Just we called them and I said, I have to ask a question. They had no idea what had taken place.
Why do they abduct people? Is it just a variety of different reasons?
A variety of reasons. Sometimes they'll cure. A person has a sickness. Sometimes an individual has a miracle cure that they don't, all of a sudden. Moo said, one thing that we do is we're trying to see how you humans are trying to kill yourselves.
Oh.
And they test, and they can put thoughts in your head. They can program you mentally and give you concepts and things. Moo told us, he said, we don't like to think of it as an abduction. We like to think of it as an educational session.
Yeah, there's a purpose to it.
Yeah, there's purpose to everything.
It just scares people because it's
unknown.
Unknown.
Something they don't know.
Okay. So Dolores Cannon had talked about there was a woman, she has the past life regression, and somebody had a memory of an abduction, and it turned out they were helping her because she was associated with this alien race. I'm not quite sure, I don't remember the details, but because of that association, they had to they were helping her. Bottom line, they were just helping her physically and stuff like that. No, she said something very similar. So that's interesting. Do people have other people have guides that are alien?
Most guides have lived incarnate life. A lot don't.
Yeah.
So could there be an alien that is communicating with people on Earth now? I don't know.
We're communicating
another dimension,
in a different dimension or
timeline. Because I hear about aliens that live in 4D and all these different dimensions. Is it something like that?
They can be multidimensional. They can be forms that you cannot even conceive of. Humans know very little. They can be light beings. I mean, there are forms. Moo told us, she said, you have to live lives on other planets because you have to learn of emotions that humans cannot conceive of life forms that you have never imagined. There are things out there, there are dimensions out there that we never imagined. I mean, I asked Moo, I said, how long does it take for you to travel from your planet on the far side of the Milky Way to Earth? And he said, about 3 of your days.
Oh my goodness.
That's it. Just 3. Just 3.
Just 3. Wow.
Think about that, because they use a method of transportation that we've never conceived of.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the way we perceive time is completely wrong.
Different, yeah.
Well, it's not wrong, but different than what could really be reality.
Well, they tried to explain that to us. And what they said was that time is like a spiral, and that there are different points on the spiral. And that's where you lost me. So you're not going to get a brilliant explanation of time from me because I don't understand it.
I've heard of the spiral time concept before.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Huh.
Can I explain it right now? No.
You're like, I can't.
Well, it's real.
Yeah.
Just speaking of time, do people always like reincarnate moving forward, or have people reincarnated backwards?
No, you can't go back. You can see back, but you can't go back.
Okay. I was just curious.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah. I don't know. Like,
Yeah, that's a good question.
mhm.
But when they do your life plan, they're looking forward in time. So, I mean, there's amazing things take place in your life plan. Meeting.
So you live in Utah now. We've always heard like different areas have different energies. Like what's a good one?
Arizona, Sedona.
Sedona, and then I know there's a Mount Shasta has like supposed to have like crazy energies. Now is Utah known as being like one of those like energetic hubs or places for I don't know how to phrase, like metaphysical,
like a power center.
Yeah, like a spiritual power center.
There are ley lines are real on the earth. So intersections of energy lines do create that. No, we're at 7,000 feet here, and it's just, we're in beautiful mountains, and it's just, we're finding that channeling is really easy up here for some reason.
Okay.
And I think it's because of the just a great environment to be in.
Yeah, I was just curious if it mattered where like you were located when it came to that stuff. And Pittsburgh has like I guess we're supposed to have like a vortex at the point where our rivers meet. There's supposed to be like this big crystal underneath, just like a natural thing underneath the river at this particular location, and people like to meditate there because it's supposed. I don't know, they're feeling it. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. We meditated there before, but I didn't know if it made a difference.
I don't think so. I think what it comes down to is your natural ability to clear your mind in meditation.
Yeah, we're big advocates for meditation. We always say that for everything.
I definitely need to meditate more.
Yeah, for everything. So do you have to meditate before you do your channeling?
No. I like to clear my mind before we do it, but it's not imperative.
Okay. Whenever you're channeling, do you have different, because you mentioned that, was his name Moo?
Yeah.
Okay, that he said he was going to be there for 3 years. Do some of the guides do that? Do they come for a certain amount of time to help you with something and then they move on? Or was he unique?
No. There isn't one guide that knows everything.
Okay.
So there are guides that have different specialties. Maybe one's lived a life of astrophysics, so you ask questions in his bailiwick what he understands. We did it when we were doing the conspiracy book. We were bouncing around with a lot of questions. One night we had 12 different guides come through for us.
Oh, wow.
Is that a lot of energy to handle when you channel that many? Does it deplete your energy at all?
Yeah.
Well, you get tired when you channel.
Okay.
Because your mind is clear of everything when you're doing it. You can't have a lot of distractions. So it can be tiring, yes.
So you have the 3 books you said that you were working on, then you're going to do a book with angels, correct?
I've actually got 7 books out now.
Okay.
The one that just has been released is Channeling the Life of Jesus. So there we tell the story of Jesus and those closest to him when they walked the earth. The one that just come out is Channeling Jesus and the Holy Spirits. We get messages in this book, and we start with Moses and move through, and the last chapter in the book is Reverend Billy Graham that we channel, and there's a large chapter with messages from Jesus in it. And the 3rd book of the series is going to be the teachings of Jesus. I'm about halfway through with that, and we go to specific areas, but those 3 volumes will be the 3 that are designed to bring you all the contemporary words of Jesus. So far, we've channeled 7 archangels. So after that book, then I plan to write a book about speaking to angels.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm
excited for that.
Yeah. We really have like an affinity for
the angelic realm.
Yeah, for some reason. But that's exciting. That's really cool. So, but were you channeling the angels before Jesus came through?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
That all came after.
Fun.
Yeah.
Fun at least.
It's developing even further.
Yeah, it's like even like the last time we spoke with you, it seems too like different. I don't know how to explain it.
We've advanced a lot just in the last year.
So what is like Jesus's main point that he wants to get across for our listeners? Like a message they can take with them.
the main point that Jesus, it's the same thing that he taught when he walked the earth. So you have to love one another, you have to love yourself, and you have to love God. And if you pass that love on to others, they will pass it on as well. And that you have to learn to get along.
Yeah, one of the big things I really like is how you say that it is a non-denominational thing. Like, we get so wrapped up in all of these different, like, who's right, who's wrong, like that kind of situation, when at the end of the day it's just love.
Yeah, it all leads to the same path.
Yeah.
When Jesus walked the earth, he never ever taught fear. Fear, you're not supposed to fear God. You're supposed to love him and love all around you. It's the hatred that will bring down evolution and humanity. It's the free will. But his message was incredibly simple. He spoke a very, very simple message of love. It's like that simple.
Yeah, we just overdo it.
Overcomplicate everything in life.
Yeah. Everybody's lives would be a lot easier if we just followed that, that.
Simple.
Yeah.
Love your neighbor.
Yeah.
Love more.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Once you cut through all of the things that the church had to exaggerate through the years, his life and messages are incredibly simple. Mm-hmm. And the most important message is there are many paths to heaven. Even though Jesus is Christ and he finds Christianity, we channel Buddha, we get into all the different world religions, and you find out that everything just kind of ties together to that universal deity. Even Buddha, who lived 600 years before Jesus, never heard of Christ or Christianity. But his teachings are basically love and get along. So that has been the universal teaching of God through the millennia, or through
the root of everything's love.
Yeah,
of everything. It just all gets muddled with
I don't know what
with what.
Yeah.
I don't know what, but it just gets muddled.
Thank you so much for being on.
Yes, thanks for being
Barry.
on again. And if you haven't listened to the last episode, guys, go ahead and click the link below and listen to the last episode, and then go check out all of Barry's
his work,
his books, we'll have some of the websites linked, and his YouTube channel. He posts all of his channelings on there and radio episodes.
Plus, you can listen to his episode and actually talk to angels.
Yeah.
And, it's who can I don't know.
Tune into the radio show and actually live.
That's amazing.
Live, ask your questions live.
Yeah, it's a unique concept.
Yeah.
Our guests are not on any other shows.
Can guarantee that. Yes.
All right.